The H-1B visa kerfuffle has truly been something quite fascinating to behold, specifically because of the nature of how it has revealed who certain actors truly are and how it is that they operate. People like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, people who in many ways I like, but look as nothing more than an asset to be used in the utilitarian sense, because in many ways, what we need to realize is these people should not be trusted. They can be shrewd operators in the political landscape and the technocratic sphere, which makes them valuable when you can court them to your side, or if they are courting your side. But what we need to address with that would be what? That in that understanding, we need to realize that they are not true and ardent believers of the framework of thought that is espoused by the actual MAGA base itself, the America First movement, and I would argue the H-1B visa kerfuffle, as we've seen unfold, has truly proven exactly that, with people like Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk coming out and supporting this program, which in kind removes American jobs and gives them to foreigners. And I'm not someone who has an issue with immigration and bringing in people from other countries that are successful and have the capacity to do great things here. But here's another issue that I do have with that specifically, is the concept of the brain drain that we bring upon other nations, where we are depleting them of their greatest minds and removing their ability to make their homes better for those who live there. With that, we need to go ahead and extrapolate outward to realize that the reason that they come here very well may be the fact that they see that there is no capacity for them to do such a thing where they live. And a place like America that offers bounty aplenty is very well a place that you could go ahead and create that future that you so desire if you feel trapped within your homeland. I'm not here to malign those people who seek a better life, but what I do wish to malign is people like that of Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Patrick Bet-David, the people who are sitting there consistently openly advocating for the H-1B visa program, acting like what we're going to be doing is pulling in a large array of people that are just some of the greatest in the STEM field that you could possibly imagine. But what we need to actually take an understanding of would be what? That these 850 some thousand H-1B visa programs, many of them are taking low-skill jobs or simply standard jobs that you would see people do within society, like working at gas stations and things such as this, which for those who are unaware, that is a reason why you see so many Indian people working in places like 7-Elevens, because the government has contractual obligations with 7-Eleven itself to allow H-1B visa applicants to work in their stores, which this meaning these are jobs that are decently paying and not being given to American citizens. And on top of that, we can also extrapolate this outward to look at the fact of all the different students that end up coming to the United States, and with that, they end up getting subsidized by government dollar dues, and also end up taking the jobs that are then given to them because of the fact that they're on their visas here, so they are then given jobs because of government mandate. This in itself is robbing American people of their capacity to create sustainability in the American economy, and that is exactly why the America First movement has turned so ardently upon people like Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Patrick Bet-David, because they see them as people who are nothing more than an enemy to the ideal that they were espousing. They've realized that in many ways they are charlatans and tricksters, and because of this, they can't be trusted. Vivek Ramaswamy, like I've already stated, someone I do like because of the fact of the things that he was saying and how it is that he was operating within the political landscape. But nonetheless, I don't trust him, nor do I trust Elon Musk or Patrick Bet-David, and neither should you. And here's a good example as to why. When you look at someone like Patrick Bet-David, you can go ahead and realize that this is actually someone who did make money off of an insurance scam and effectively a pump and dump, much like Vivek Ramaswamy actually ended up doing with his Alzheimer's drug that was supposed to cure Alzheimer's, and then he dumped the stock, making buku bucks, effectively $2 billion, and well, in the process, he ended up using that to jettison his career. And that is something that we need to understand is a major factor that no one talks about when mentioning people such as this. But of course, that's okay, because it's understandable that many people wouldn't be aware of the fact of why it is the talking heads are in front of them, because that requires you to go down the line of history to go ahead and attempt to find what it is that has brought them to the forefront of modern politics. And in doing so, many of the times, once you actually break down that chain of events, you realize that these people are not to be trusted. And like I've already stated, the fact is, with this H-1B visa kerfuffle unfurling, their actions have stated exactly that, as they have openly stated what? That American citizens should not be getting these jobs because they're just not talented or smart enough, you see. But we're not talking about the best coders and engineers in the world bringing them in mass to the United States to the tune of 850,000 visas. No, we're talking about simply bringing people who are looking for a new life in a new land where they can find bounty aplenty. And I do not have hatred for people who are seeking that better life, but what I do not have respect for is someone like Elon Musk, who has decided to court the MAGA base in the America First movement and then immediately heel turn 180, aim his crosshairs upon them, and quite literally call them all retarded because of their concerns for the fact of the future of their children. Absolutely unbelievable. Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Patrick Bet-David in many ways are the last thing I would call America first. So now let's go ahead, jump in, and see what we've got with the insanity of the H-1B visa program. Starting off here with Industry Insider, we see jury finds discrimination in H-1B visa tech worker case. A New Jersey-based company that supplies IT workers throughout Silicon Valley and the Bay Area was intentionally discriminating against non-Indian workers and abusing the H-1B visa process, a jury has found. October 8th, 2024, and what we need to realize is this has been going on for just about as long as the H-1B visa process has been enrolled. So this is a thing that is crucial to pay attention to. Here we see discriminating against non-Indian workers, and what that means is this isn't about white people, this isn't about black people, this isn't about Hispanics, this isn't about Arabs. This is solely about the fact of broad-scale discrimination so that we can import Calcutta to the United States, and in the process only doing so we can have effectively a slave class. And if you think I'm exaggerating and that sounds like a bit much, my friend, allow us to dive into this article for but a moment so we can go ahead and get a bit more information so you can understand why I might say that. A company that supplies thousands of workers for Silicon Valley's tech industry and other Bay Area employers intentionally discriminated against non-Indian workers, a jury has found. The jury verdict against Cognizant, founded in Chennai and now headquartered in New Jersey, came Friday in a class action lawsuit that revolved around claims that the firm had abused the H-1B visa process. The visa is intended for workers with specialized skills, and Silicon Valley tech firms rely on it heavily to secure top talent and also to obtain workers for lower-level jobs via Cognizant and other staffing firms. 3 U.S.-born workers described in the lawsuit as Caucasian, Vartan Pirmu of California, Christy Palmer of Arizona, and Edward Cox of Texas, sued Cognizant in U.S. District Court in Los Angeles in 2017. Another plaintiff described as Caucasian, Jean-Claude Franchitti, a green card holder from France, joined as a plaintiff later. The lawsuit claimed Cognizant ousted many non-Indian workers by first taking them off projects and benching them without working, then keeping them benched until firing them in accordance with a company policy. Cognizant said Monday it was disappointed with the verdict and would appeal. Now that you have a bit more context, allow me to explain a bit further as to why I was effectively claiming that they're importing a slave class. And well, here's the thing. The average price for whatever you would pay for these jobs, these people that are getting imported to do the job via the H-1B visa program, they're making roughly 50 to 60% of what that job would normally pay, and they're also working exorbitant amounts of hours, roughly 80 hours a week. And here's the thing that we need to go ahead and address with that. If these people were to go ahead and attempt to leave the job that they're working at to go find employment elsewhere, they would be removed from the country because their H-1B visa would cancel. Thus, they are quite literally being imported and essentially held captive as a serf class to work endlessly solely for the fact of what? The profits of these massive corporations. And so many of these people that do get imported into these massive tech sectors that are effectively doing nothing more than running customer service or back channeling, doing service for things akin to old apps. Well, what we need to understand about that would be that a lot of these people aren't actually working for those 80 hours. They're trying to prove to the boss that they're working for 80 hours and then skating by the rest of it. And I'm not hating on the fact of someone not wanting to be a slave for 80 hours for piss poor pay. That's not something I'm denigrating here. I'm denigrating the fact of these corporations that are quite literally viewing these individuals as nothing more than slave labor. So let's just go ahead now and move on to how it is that we've seen the standard shift within that of the upper echelon of the MAGA base. And by that, I mean quite literally the leader himself in that of Donald Trump, as he has openly come out stating what? Well, you see, we just need to bring more and more people into the country, completely defying the ethos of what it is that he has espoused for so long when it comes to the fact of tackling mass immigration into the United States. And it makes you wonder, is it the fact of someone like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy getting into his ear that is making him shift the dynamics of how he is approaching this conversation? As we know, Donald Trump is very influential based solely on the fact of who is in the room and filleting his ego at the time. So with that, we very well may have seen this be a major factor as to what has tilted his perspective and made him shift his mindset. Before we do that though, I would like to focus on what you see here in yellow at the bottom of the screen. Here it says something that I thought was just absolutely remarkable because Cognizant completely removing the fact of their responsibility in this, just claiming, well, we are disappointed in this verdict, you see, because we provide equal opportunities for all employees and have built a diverse and inclusive workplace that promotes a culture of belonging in which all employees feel valued and engaged and have the opportunity to develop and succeed. Cognizant does not tolerate discrimination and takes such cases seriously. Well, it seems that that's nothing more than a boilerplate blanket statement that so many of these massive corporations are willing to give, even people who are running them, much like that of Elon Musk or Patrick Bet-David, who are bringing in people on this H-1B visa program rather than hiring Americans, even though they claim that they are all about the framework of being America first. But America first isn't about a set of ideals, it's about a people. And if you're not going to stand for the people, then why is it that they should go to bat for you? So now let's go ahead and throw it into that clip of Donald Trump effectively betraying his base.
Nobody knows the system better than me. I know the H-1B. I know the H-2B. Nobody knows it better than me. I know the H-1B very well, and it's something that I frankly use, and I shouldn't be allowed to use. We shouldn't have it. Very, very bad for workers.
As we speak, we're finalizing H-1B regulations so that no American worker is replaced ever again. H-1Bs should be used for top, highly paid talent to create American jobs, not as inexpensive labor program to destroy American jobs.
Why did you change your mind on H-1B visas, sir?
I didn't change my mind. I've always felt we have to have the most competent people in our country. We need competent people. We need smart people coming into our country. And we need a lot of people coming in. We're going to have jobs like we've never had before.
But sir, you said you changed your...
So there we have the fat 180-degree heel turn on a dime from Donald Trump, the leader of the MAGA movement, abandoning the fundamentals of what it is that he has espoused now that he has Elon Musk in his ear. And then we have the subversive rug pull from the San Francisco liberal that was a Republican as of 17 seconds ago in Elon Musk, the man who's been trying to court the MAGA base and become a face for this movement, which he understands is going to be the shifting cultural dynamic that will be driving forward. Thus, he wanted to be someone who was at the spearhead of that. It's very clear Elon Musk is nothing more than a shrewd operator in many ways and does not actually believe in the values of what so many people within the America First movement actually believe. And this has been revealed en masse with his most recent reaction with the H-1B visa kerfuffle unfurling, as we already know, because what we saw was Elon Musk coming forward and basically telling everyone within the MAGA movement that considers this an issue because it will be affecting their progeny's ability to create a more sustainable life for themselves, to go fuck their own face, and I quote, and effectively calling them all, and I quote, retards. That's right. That's what he thinks of you. The average person who works at Costco, the person who works at a sub shop, who works at a nail salon. Well, you don't want to support the fact of the possibility of your job being supplanted because it could be cheaper labor that could work for longer? Well, you're just a fucking retard, says Elon Musk. That's right. Truly nothing more than a subversive, shrewd San Francisco liberal, and that is something that many people need to realize. We need to look at people such as this within the utilitarian lens because they are nothing more than pieces on a chessboard that we should use to move the cultural dynamic. And once we see the fact of their relevance cast aside because they are no longer in allegiance to the framework of what it is that is trying to be pushed, if you are trying to push for a certain vision for the future, then you abandon them like they are nothing more than a sunk piece on the chessboard. That is something that we need to address, and I'm not saying you abandon the framework and establishment of what someone can produce in the market and the great things that they can develop and create, but I'm saying you abandon them as a thought leader, as it is clear many will be doing with Elon Musk, as hundreds of thousands of people already have done, as they have openly stood against him, claiming what he is doing is defying the ethos of what it is that he claims to have believed in the first place. Here we see Tesla replaced laid-off U.S. workers with foreign workers using H-1B visas that Musk wants to increase. Tesla has replaced some of its U.S. employees who were let go as part of the big wave of layoffs earlier this year with foreign workers using H-1B visas, which CEO Elon Musk is now campaigning to increase. Over the last week, Elon Musk has been promoting the increase of H-1B visas, which are used to bring in foreign workers into the U.S. for specialty occupations. Ah, yes, except many of these people, most of them in fact, are not actually filling these specialty occupation roles, but one thing to address about those specialty occupations specifically would be what? Well, what we need to understand would be that so many people who actually already fill these roles, well, they're Americans, you see, and what is it that's mandated of them by their jobs? That they have to train their replacement that is being imported into the country via the H-1B system that will then be getting paid roughly half of what they're making, and in the process, they will then be removed from their job. And if they refuse to train the person that will be supplanting them, then by all means, they will have their benefits cut and not receive their pension. Isn't that just remarkable? And with that information now in your Rolodex, I think you should be able to understand that Elon Musk does not care about the people of America, the people of the world in their current state. His main concern is the future colonies of Mars. And that is something that just very much reminds me of how it is that the global warming crowd tackles issues, because they care so much about the hypothetical poor and struggling of the future, meanwhile not caring at all how what they advocate for in the moment is only destroying people's lives in real time. And that very much reminds me of the mindset of how Elon Musk is approaching this H-1B visa conversation. To finish this off, here we see Exodus. Elon Musk argues that we must put 1 million people on Mars if we are to ensure that humanity has a future. And those 1 million people that we put on Mars are these individuals that Elon Musk is going to be willing to import from the third world so that we can go ahead and have cheaper labor to send off into space? Or is he actually going to believe that we need people of the highest quality and capability to do the job, thus he isn't going to be willing to scrape the bottom of the barrel of the third world to bring in a labor force that he can then exploit as a chattel class? Just something to consider. And also on top of that, to go ahead and finish it off, I would just like to bring this up, which I found quite fascinating when I stumbled upon this. Here we see Boeing increasingly relied on outsourced $9 an hour engineers to test software. The 737 MAX software was developed at a time that Boeing was laying off experienced engineers and pressing suppliers to cut costs. And if you're unfamiliar, the 737 MAX is the plane from Boeing that has been having a litany of issues and putting people's lives in danger. That's right. Once again, we can see the framework of outsourcing our labor to effectively a slave class that does piss-poor job at completing the task to not be something that is viable for, let's say, creating a more stable and sustainable society. I'm going to go ahead and call it there. Thank you for watching if you got this far. Thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section down below. Stay lovely, stay great, and most importantly, my friends, please go tell someone you love them. Peace out.